I think one of the things that business has to do is recognise the future fit for itself, right? So taking action to create shareholder return, taking action to create customer value, all of those things are incredibly important. And the only way we can do that in a consistent, sustainable, financially sustainable way in the future is by incorporating sustainability into the way that businesses operate. And if you look at some of the businesses that are really excelling in the market, they're already doing that, whether it's with that sort of label or whether that's inadvertently. But what they're really doing is investing for the future and investing for stability and resilience. And I think that's a critical component of the way that we look at business going forwards. The role of the CSO has changed immeasurably. I think we're in this place now where it is incredibly important for CSOs to bring commercial acumen, pragmatism, a sort of a future-back vision, keeping true to the principles that have made them CSOs and very successful in terms of decarbonisation and driving sort of sustainable value, but incorporating that even more into the way that presents commercial value for shareholders, other stakeholders, customers. I think incorporating those things. So making sure that we bring sustainability as a core commercial proposition to drive shareholder return, customer value. Businesses have a very privileged position in the sense that they are directly connected often with consumers, end consumers, certainly businesses that serve consumers. So they have a good sense of kind of what does and doesn't work in the market. They also are charged with, and I think capitalise on, the opportunities for innovation. So there's this opportunity for businesses to go first, but they also need public policy shift and government to support that shift, to come with them on the journey. So there's an element of, businesses will invest for innovation to drive new markets and to expand the markets, but sort of government also needs to come with them in that journey and spot the opportunity. So there's a real opportunity for business and government to work together to drive that better return for consumers and the public at large. So Bupa is a healthcare company. We serve something like 60 million people every year. We have about 50,000 clinicians. We've been around for about 77 years. And we've recognised through the health insurance provision, healthcare provision, aged care, that it's no good just looking after people when they're sick. You have to fundamentally rethink the way that you deliver business, not only to serve people when they need care, because that's incredibly important, but also thinking about people before they need care. How do you keep people healthy? How do you drive preventative intervention to keep society and to keep your customers healthy? So for us, a big shift is how we pivot the business more to that preventative opportunity, spotting commercial opportunities that support that ambition. And that's very much what we're trying to do. But getting closer to customers, understanding their real needs, sometimes even before they really understand it themselves, and getting them to or supporting them through a better care pathway. So a big part of what we're trying to do is drive that in our business, but we also recognise we can't do that alone. So we have a number of coalitions, whether it's the Sustainable Markets Initiative or more broadly, to essentially support the levers that allow us to look after people better. We're a business without shareholders. Our purpose is to help people live longer, healthier, happier lives and to make a better world. And we recognise we can't do that alone. We have to bring the broader sector and indeed adjacent sectors with us. So whether it's the built environment, the food sector, those guys need to work with us to really achieve our purpose. We recognise that you can't have healthy people without a healthy planet. So that's a fundamental truth. And I think having looked after people for 77 years, that's become increasingly evident. The other thing that we see is the real impact, the tangible impact of climate change on people's health. We see it in our hospitals, we see it in our health insurance lines. So we recognise that you have to bring sort of the way that we service customers and look after their health and the way that we interact with our environment and the impact that we have on our environment together, and think about what synergies there sit in the middle of that. And so in our latest iteration of our strategies, we've brought that really, really close together, and they are sort of driving common commercial outputs. But at the same time, we're investing in the enabling conditions, whether it's about making societies healthier and more inclusive, or indeed investing in nature regeneration for better health. Because what we wanted to do is make sure that whether it's commercially driven or sustainability driven, it's all about health and looking after people's health. And that's the fundamental kind of driving force behind it. When you start taking that basic sort of purpose-driven view, commercial outcome and sustainability outcome, at least in our case, has come into a natural kind of coincidence. So that's been a big focus for us, and I think it's working very, very successfully. And it's also helping us underpin the benefits of some of the things that we're trying to innovate in, like digital healthcare and preventative healthcare and genomics even. So making sure that we're kind of driving those innovations in a sustainable and commercially focused way.